Are we good to begin? We good? You guys are good up there? Okay. All right, welcome to the Clark County School District Attendance Zone Advisory Commission. It is now 9:30 on October 22nd, and we are here to conduct this business. I'll go through this. We'll do a roll call after, but yeah, I know you have to do it after this, right? Hold your pants on. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the territorial homelands of the Nuwu, the Mwapa Band of Paiutes, and the Las Vegas Band of Paiutes. In conformance with the open meeting law, it is hereby noted that the agenda for the meeting of the Clark County School District Board of Trustees has been posted at the Clark County School District Administrative Center, Clark County School District website, and the Nevada Public Notice website. We'll take a roll call. I am Nicholas Fede, present. Dave Flatt.
Here.
Lydia Dominguez.
Present.
Diane Kinzel.
Here.
Noe Orozco.
Present.
John Shea. Present. Jess Torado.
Present.
Matthew Tramp.
Here.
Tim Vicario. I believe he's supposed to be online. Nope. Okay. Not present. Rudy Zamora. Not present also. We do have quorum. The Attendance Zone Advisory Commission may take items on agenda out of order, may combine two or more agenda items for consideration, and may remove an item from the agenda or delay discussion relating to items on the agenda at any time. Alternatively, speakers may sign up in person immediately prior to the beginning of the meeting to minimize distractions. No additional speakers may sign up once the commission chair has introduced the agenda item. Rudy present now? Thank you. Rudy is present now. Members of the public are permitted to provide public comment on any agenda item requiring commission action after staff presentations and discussion by the commission. Before the commission votes on the item, speakers will be given 3 minutes to address the commission and shall remain on topic. A public comment period will be offered immediately prior to the adjournment of the meeting for members of the public who wish to speak on matters that are within the jurisdiction of the commission not listed as an action item on the agenda. Each individual wishing to speak during this period will be given 3 minutes to address the commission. And you're welcome to sign up with these young ladies right over here. All right, with that, we will move on to action item 101, the flag salute and pledge of allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now move to subject 2.01, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
We need to do the adoption of the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I skip right over it? I apologize. Let me back up. 1.02, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I motion.
I second.
I have a motion from Lydia and a second from Dave. By this vote, if you guys don't mind, please raise your hand. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. All opposed? Negative. Excellent. All right, with that, we'll move on to 2.01, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
I motion.
I second.
I have a motion from Lydia and a second by Rudy. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
All opposed? None. Excellent. All right, moving right along to action item 2.02, reports.
Discussion items.
I have the AZAC meeting if you're wondering why I'm just sitting here with a headphone on, just to give you a heads up.
Is that Tim? I'm sorry, who's on the call?
Hello?
Hello, is this Tim?
Yep.
Hi, Tim. So we can mark that Tim is present? All right. Possible presentation and discussion of reports. This is to you, Ms. Tracy, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, on this agenda item, I do not have a report, but I do on the following items.
Okay. All right, so we will move on to action item 2.03, demonstration of the AZAC webpage and AZAC toolbox. And then that is with you as well, Tracy?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Tracy Murphy for the record. This agenda item is an overview of the resources that we have and the information that we have available for AZAC and for the public on the AZAC website. The website address is azac.ccsd.net. On the homepage, you're able to log in and view this meeting live. And we also on the AZAC webpage, we also on the AZAC webpage provide the status of the AZAC meetings, upcoming meetings, meeting minutes, any scenarios that the Attendance Zone Advisory Commission is evaluating. And then on the Demographics and Zoning website, you can toggle between the AZAC website and Demographics and Zoning. This is the toolbox, which is very handy in identifying and finding schools as well as attendance boundaries for elementary, middle, and high schools. So I wanted to review this and let you know that this information and all the reports we're talking about today will be on the DZG website, which you can access through the AZAC website.
Excellent. Okay. Is it possible for us to see these? They're not even on. They're black. Sorry. I am. Sorry. I appreciate it. Sorry about that. Yeah, if or at least visit, because we don't even see these. Sorry, I hate to make a problem out of it, but. All right. We'll move on to section 2.04, presentation of the 2024-2025 enrollment report. And that's back to you, Ms. Tracy.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Tracy Murphy for the record. This item for the enrollment reports, there are two different formats for this report that provide a little different information. The first enrollment report, which is reference item 2.04A, is the enrollment report which provides enrollments by grade, starting with elementary, middle, and high school in alphabetical order. It also shows the 24-25 program capacity of each school, the total enrollment, the state excluded early childhood numbers, the grand total, and the number of portable classrooms at each school. On the last page of this report, you have the overall totals for the school district for each grade, elementary, middle, high, and special alternative schools. The second portion of this report is reference item 2.04B. This is the monthly enrollment report. It also provides information by elementary, middle, high school, special alternative schools in alphabetical order, the trustee, district, municipality, the region, the star rating, the program capacity again, and this report is from September. These reports are updated every month on the first working day of the month, and they will be posted on the Demographics and Zoning website. So this report for September gives you the enrollment number, the state excluded enrollment number, and then the September total enrollment. You'll see in the next column the total enrollment percent of capacity. Blue indicates the school is under capacity. White is between 90 and 110% of capacity. Yellow is 110 to 124, and red is 125 and above percent of capacity. And once again, the last column is the number of portable classrooms. Portable classrooms are not included in capacity. Portable classrooms are just an indication of how many portable modular buildings may be needed at a school to accommodate the current enrollment. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Do we have any questions for Ms. Murphy on this action item? All right. Mr. Flatt has a question.
Dave Flatt for the record. Tracy, do we have a record of, or any type of study that's done that shows us how the schools are doing compared to this year, to last year, if they're going up or down? Is that in any of these that I have? I mean, it would be interesting to see that if the school is continuing to lose students, that may change some of our ideas. Thank you.
Mr. Flatt, members of the commission, there is not a report that I have available other than the report from last year's enrollments, which are listed on the websites. We've listed on our demographics and zoning website all the data from last year's enrollment, both reports for every month of the previous year. So that data is on our website for comparison purposes. Also, when we get to the hotspot maps, there are certain areas which have changed from year to year, which I'd like to call out as part of that presentation of hotspot maps.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are these open for public discussion as well?
Everything should be open for public discussion.
Okay. Did we have any public discussion on this action item or agenda item? No? I keep saying action item. It's agenda. I get it. All right, with that, we'll move on to agenda item 2.05, presentation of the 2024-2025 capacity study. And I believe that goes back over to Ms. Murphy as well.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Tracy Murphy for the record. The capacity study, there are two capacity studies. There's the elementary capacity study and the secondary capacity study. Each year, these capacity studies are updated as well. The elementary capacity study is the program capacity, which reflects the optimum use of the building and captures the annual changes to educational specifications and assigns specialized programs. It's not design capacity or building utilization. To obtain consistency in establishing the program capacity for each elementary school, rooms that are designed for special use, such as teacher offices or workrooms, are not computed in the capacities. Libraries and multi-purpose rooms are not assigned capacities. And the pupil-teacher ratios are used to identify the capacities. Support rooms, such as PE, art, computers, literacy, gifted learning, education, and resource, are support and specialized programs assigned to rooms. And then the remaining rooms are assigned to kindergarten through grade 5. Some schools were built with class size reduction rooms, and others were built with divisible grades 1 and 2 classrooms. New schools built with 53 rooms have additional support rooms, flex, and STEM rooms. Portable classrooms, again, are not calculated in the program capacity. So starting with the elementary school portion, a low code is just an indicator that we've assigned to the schools to better identify them. You have the region, the star rating, elementary schools, and alphabetical order. The number of permanent teaching rooms, which were identified at the time the schools are constructed or that they currently have. Kindergarten, first grade, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then Title I General Ed Pre-K rooms, special education rooms, and then the total support pull-out rooms at each school. Then you have the 9-month capacity, and again, the number of portable rooms on site for reference purposes. The secondary capacity report is similar, just a few differences. Different pupil-teacher ratios for secondary schools are used. And after programs have been assigned at the beginning of each school year, program capacity is calculated at 83.3%, which allows teachers a prep period within their assigned classrooms and avoids rotation of teachers. These pages, again, the location code, regions, star rating, middle schools, then high schools, number of permanent rooms, magnet programs, in-house suspension, resource programs, self-contained programs, PE, regular programs, and then again, 9-month capacity and the portable rooms on site. I do want to add that when you see on some of the schools a very large number of portable classrooms, for example, at Bonanza, Bonanza is in the process of a comprehensive modernization. And so to facilitate that comprehensive modernization, there are portable classrooms on that site so students can rotate through those portable classrooms while the classrooms in the buildings are under construction.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Do we have any questions for Ms. Murphy on this agenda item?
I do.
Lydia, go ahead.
For high schools like Desert Pines, I see they have 42 portables. That's quite a large number. Is there plans for schools like with that large number?
Or is that one a modernization project also?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Ms. Dominguez, yes, Desert Pines has 42 portable classrooms on that site. In recent years, they had seen quite a growth in their enrollments. And there is a scenario which is going to be looked at further on in the meeting that will help provide some relief to Desert Pines in that area.
Excellent, okay. Ms. Dominguez, is that okay? Any other questions?
For the other schools that are at the range of, 24 at Arborview, which is in District B, let's see, 35, there seems to be 35 portables at Cimarron. It's quite a large number. There can't be a plan. Is there a plan for all of these schools? All right, what number is too much, too many portables?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Ms. Dominguez, it depends on the situation of the school, right? So Desert Pines, when we get to the scenario that talks about converting Robeson Middle School into a high school, that's one of the ways that enrollment relief will be provided to Desert Pines. Other schools, such as Arborview and Centennial, if you remember that the Northeast CTA opened 2 years ago. So when the Northeast CTA and Arborview and Centennial were in red. So now they're in yellow. So you're seeing the positive impact of the Northeast CTA opening 2 years later. Because with the Northeast CTA opening, those were seats available to students in that area to attend a new CTA. So students who would have been attending the Northwest CTA until the Northeast CTA opened, it provided more students CTA seats in their area, which relieved some of the seats for more students in the Northwest CTA so that more students from Arborview and Centennial could attend the Northwest CTA. So we're very pleased with the fact that this is working because Arborview now is in yellow. It was in red for the last several years, as well as Centennial. And so opening that Northeast CTA was the plan to help relieve Arborview and Centennial And we've seen after 2 years that that is in fact happening. There are other schools in particular. So Cimarron is in the middle of a comprehensive modernization. So that's why they have as many portables that they have right now.
Excellent. Ms. Dominguez, any other questions?
That was it.
Any other questions for Ms. Murphy on this agenda item? Yes, ma'am. Jessica?
Hi. So, quick question. Is there a report that we can see or that we can reference that tells us exactly what schools are undergoing that modernization? So that way we are able to distinguish from these numbers and not confuse those with those modernizations?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Otto, on our next enrollment report, we could asterisk it. And so at the bottom, you'll see the legend, which are comprehensive modernization schools, if that would help.
Very much so. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Jess, any other questions? Any other, Matt, go ahead.
Matthew Tramp, District D. Just want to refresh. Some portables will have 2 classrooms and some have 1. So if there's 2 classrooms in one physical building, you count that as 2 on the numbers, right? It's not each physical building. You're totaling the number of classrooms, correct?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Tramp, yes, these are classrooms. These are not buildings. The district has portables that have 1 classroom, and the district also has portables that has 2 classrooms. And so in order to give you a clear picture of how many classrooms are on each campus, this is classrooms, it's not buildings.
Okay, that's good. Mr. Tramp, any other questions? You good? Anybody else on this agenda item? Do we have any public comment on this item? Nothing? Okay. We'll go ahead and close on to...
I think she's continuing, isn't she?
No, she already did that one. Right? That was it for that agenda item, right? Okay. All right, so we'll move on to agenda item 2.06, presentation of the hotspot data, Dave's favorite, for 2024-25 school year. Ms. Murphy.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Tracy Murphy for the record. This presentation is the hotspot maps, which are also on our website. I'll start with the elementary school enrollments. The blue, again, is below 90% of capacity. 90 to 109% of capacity is in white. 110 to 124% of capacity is in yellow, which are schools that we're watching. And red is above 125% of capacity. You will see with each school the percent of capacity on this map, and underneath that, the number of portable classrooms at each school. The middle school program capacity, the same percent of program capacities. You'll see that the majority of middle schools are either below capacity or at capacity, which is between 90 and 109% of capacity. And then the 2024 high school enrollment percent of program capacity, again, shows you each level, the areas, their capacity, and their number of portable classrooms. I do want to go back to the elementary school programs. You'll see some of the attendance boundaries that have hash marks. So those attendance boundaries indicate sister schools, which means that 2 elementary schools share an attendance boundary. And so there are 2 elementary schools, they share an attendance boundary, and then you'll see the information on program capacity and the number of portables for each of those sister schools.
Excellent, okay. Sorry, looking at these maps as well. I don't have any questions, but does anybody on the commission have a question for Ms. Tracy on this agenda item? Mr. Tramp?
Yeah, this one I've just thought about it. I've been on this committee 8 years. Can you make a map for the rural Nevadas to have a hot spot on them too? I've noticed we've never done this. This only puts it in the city, so we don't see the hotspot or the data for the rural areas like Mesquite, Virgin Valley, or the Boulder City area and Indian Springs.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Trump, yes, if that's the desire of the commission.
Yeah, if it's not a hard task to do, yeah. So that way, yeah, we've got data on how the rural Nevada, rural Clark County is.
Excellent. Okay. All right, Mr. Tramp, no other questions there? Anything else? Any other questions? Any public comment on this agenda item 2.06? None? All right. Moving on to the 2.07, presentation of the 2024-25 percentage change report. Again, Ms. Murphy?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this report, the percent change report, provides information for both elementary and secondary schools. This report shows the net percentage of Clark County School District students geographically assigned by elementary schools who attend a non-assigned CCSD school. Due to the magnitude of school choice options available in Clark County School District, this report is all-inclusive with respect to the situation. The percent change includes students leaving the assigned school attendance zone due to any of the following: magnet school enrollment, special education or alternative school program placement, CCSD administrative placement, change of school assignment, also known as COSA, or for elementary school prime 6 choice options. A negative percentage indicates more students leave the attendance zone than are coming in from out of zone. A positive percentage signifies a greater number of students attending than are geographically assigned in the attendance zone. So starting with the report for elementary schools, it lists again elementary schools in alphabetical order, the location code, the geographic number of students in that attendance zone, and then you have a 3-year history of the percent change. So for example, the first elementary school on the list is Abston Elementary School. You'll see 2022, 10%, a little over 10% of the students went to outside of the attendance zone. Again in 2023, and then this year, a little over 5%. This report also indicates that if a school is a magnet school, a prime 6 school, or a sister school. The secondary report, similar. Middle school and high schools lists the schools in alphabetical order. This report was started more than 3 years ago, so you will have 6 years of data to compare as far as the students who may be attending outside the attendance zone. This report is helpful when looking at scenarios because when you look at the geographic number of students on a scenario, you have to also factor in the percent change because especially in secondary schools that can impact because there are more choices, can impact that geographic number. So you do need to take that into account with some of those scenarios. Well, not some of them, but the secondary school scenarios.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Do we have any questions on this agenda item, Commission?
I do.
Ms. Dominguez?
Leah Dominguez for the record. I have just one suggestion for the elementary report. Can we add the labels? Because I see you had it on the other report, but you didn't have it on the second pages. So like where it says, you know, the years and everything. So it was just kind of missing those labels. So I don't have to keep flipping around. Yeah. And then for both reports, it says the location code. Could we add in maybe maybe like the district letter?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Mingus, the trustee district?
Yes,
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Dominguez, any other?
that's it. Thank you.
No? Mr. Orozco?
Yeah, just a quick question. For the Prime 6, this is my second go-around on this commission, so I just really want to see if you can tease out that, what the significance of that is, or expand on it, please. Like, I don't know what Prime 6 means.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Orozco. Prime 6 schools are identified schools. It was part of the district's desegregation plan. And so Prime 6 schools, the kindergarten schools in that attendance boundary would go to their neighborhood school. Students would be assigned outside of their attendance boundary from 1st through 5th grade. However, they do have the option to go to their neighborhood school if they decide to opt out of the Prime 6 program.
You're good, Mr. Orozco? Mr. Tramp?
Thank you, Matthew Tramp, for the record. When you include the numbers of kids who attend out of zone, do you include kids who go to CTAs or magnet schools who would be zoned for that school but choose to go, who are approved for a CTA or magnet program? Is those numbers included?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Tramp, yes, those numbers are included. So you'll see when there's a choice, to attend outside your attendance boundaries and students choose to attend a CTA, yes, that's part of this calculation.
So it's not just coast, people are on the coast, it's for all groups?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Tramp? Any other questions on this agenda item, Commission? None?
Me, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
Ms. Dominguez, my apologies.
Lydia, for the record. So if you could possibly just add a legend for the team, the Prime 6 magnet at the end of the report, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
You good, Ms. Dominguez? All right, thank you. Any public comment on this agenda item? None? All right. Moving on to agenda item 2.08, presentation of the 2024-2025 feeder school report. And back to you, Ms. Murphy.
Okay, last report. The feeder school report for 2024-2025 provides the percentage of incoming grade level students residing within the overlapping school attendance boundaries, elementary schools to middle and middle schools to high school. Included are both the percentage of students the feeder school sends to the receiving school, as well as the percentage of the receiving school total population from the feeder school. Due to the variety of school choice options available to students in CCSD, this may not be reflective of actual enrollments. So beginning with the 23-24 5th grade to 24-25 6th grade feeder schools, for example, starting with Bailey, you'll see the schools that feed to Bailey Middle School. For example, Brookman, Herr, Hickey, King, Manch, Mountain View. That is the percentage of the elementary school that goes to Bailey. So 100% of Brookman Elementary School would go to Bailey Middle School. Then the percentage of middle school shows the percentage of students from Brookman that are at Bailey as far as enrollment. So 17% of the students at Bailey Middle School come from Brookman attendance zone. These are also in alphabetical order. This does include the rural schools as well. Then there are the high schools, the feeder schools from 2023-24 8th grade to 24-25 9th grade. And for example, Arborview High School, 100% of Cadwalader goes to Arborview High School, 52% of Escobedo, A little over 52% of Escobedo Middle School goes to Arborview High School. 61% of Arborview High School or Cadwallader are attendance boundary students, and 38.11% of Escobedo attendance boundary students.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Murphy? Commission, do we have any questions for Ms. Murphy on this agenda item? Ms. Jess?
Just Rado for the record. So I just want to clarify so I fully understand the report here. Going back to either elementary or middle school, it doesn't necessarily matter for my question here. It says that the feeder school, the first percentage, just because I'm looking at the elementary school, percentage of elementary school, is that assuming the whole population of that elementary school is zoned for the next school? And the second column is the actual percentage of that school that attends that middle school.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Rado, yes, looking at Bailey, that shows the percentage of the elementary school that attends the middle school. So for example, for Bailey, Brookman, Herr, Hickey, and King, and Mountain View, that attendance boundary all feeds to Bailey. So you're looking at the attendance boundary itself that feeds to Bailey. And then 34.71% of the Manch attendance boundary feeds to Bailey.
So then that secondary percentage is just the percentage of the population of that whole Bailey Middle School that comes from that elementary school.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great question. Ms. Jess, any other questions? Any other member? Any public comment? Excellent. We'll go ahead and close 2.08. Moving on to 2.09, preliminary zoning consideration focus area E1 for elementary schools. And I believe this goes back to Ms. Murphy as well.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Wayne, Tanaka, and Judas Steele Elementary Schools are located in high-growth areas where active developments are expected to yield additional elementary school students in the next few years. Tanaka Elementary School is currently at 109.85% of program capacity, and Steele Elementary School is at 122.27% of program capacity. Berkeley Elementary School and Don and D. Snyder Elementary School have seats available to provide enrollment relief. You have before you, two scenarios. Scenario 1, the existing elementary attendance school boundaries are in solid red, where you see an area that is the same color as an adjoining area, but not within the solid red line. That's proposed rezoning. So I do want to say that what you see on this scenario and future scenarios, again, are the geographic number of students that live in that attendance boundary. It's not enrollments. So what you see before you is an area of Tanaka that is north of Sunset, east of Fort Apache. In this scenario, proposed to be rezoned from Tanaka to Berkeley Elementary School. There's an area on the northern portion of Snyder that's proposed to be rezoned from Tanaka to Snyder. That's south of Warm Springs, between Fort Apache and Durango. And there is an area between Warm Springs, Windmill, Durango, and Buffalo that's in pink that's proposed to be rezoned from Steele Elementary School to Snyder Elementary School. The next page is the table that provides you with the numbers that represent what's proposed in this scenario. 12 students proposed from Tanaka Elementary School to be rezoned to Berkeley, 48 from Steele to Snyder, 130 from Tanaka to Snyder, And then you have the grade levels listed, the total, you have the race, and then you have English language learner, you have the capacity of each of these schools, and then you have the percent change. The second scenario has the same proposed rezoning from Tanaka to Berkeley and Tanaka to Snyder. However, the area proposed to rezone from Steele is different. That's the area south of Windmill, north of Blue Diamond, west of Buffalo, and east of Durango. And then the table with scenario 2 is also attached that shows you the number of students in each of these areas, the proposed rezoning, race, English language learner, capacity, and percent change. And then following this scenario, I'd like to turn this over to Josh Gelman, who's our senior GIS analyst, to give you some information on the development that is being tracked in this area.
Thank you. Mr. Gelman?
Good morning, everyone. What you see before you right now is a map of the residential development tracking for focus area E1. This is reference item 2.09. I want to quickly go over the legend before I get into the numbers. What you see are 3 different kinds of polygons: active, inactive, and future. I'll start with active. These are the green polygons. They have broken ground, and they're currently in the process of being developed. These can take anywhere from 1 to 2 years to finish development. You will also see that yellow polygon known as inactive. Those polygons currently are on hold. They were requested for an extension of time. And the future developments, which are the red polygons, are anywhere approximately 2 to 5 years out before completion. Again, these can depend on the speed of construction and economic factors, as well as other variables, as when these projects are completed. Finally, you'll see that there are 2 different kinds of numbers for each of these polygons. There's the single-family residences remaining, which are displayed as a yellow number, and a white number for multifamily residences remaining. With that, I will start going through each school individually so that you can know exactly how many units are planned, how many units are remaining, and an approximate student yield of how many students we'll be expecting attending each school. So the first school is Berkeley. For active development for Berkeley, we have 157 total units planned, 36 units remaining, and approximately 5 elementary school students expected for Berkeley. The next school is Snyder. For active development, we currently have 19 housing units planned, 19 housing units remaining, and an additional elementary school students expected, about 3. For future development, we have 77 housing units planned, 77 housing units remaining, and approximately 11 elementary school students expected. For Steele Elementary, we have 1,352 active housing units planned, 961 housing units remaining, and approximately 132 elementary school students expected. For future, we have 608 housing units planned and remaining. And we also have 79 elementary school students expected. For inactive, we currently have 0 housing units planned, remaining, elementary school students expected. Finally, for Tanaka, we have 2,064 housing units planned for active, 1,108 housing units remaining, and an expected student yield of 141 students. For inactive, we have 1,288 housing units planned and remaining, and we are also expecting 160 elementary school students. For future, we have 1,415 housing units planned and remaining, and we are expecting 175 elementary school students. If anyone has any questions on E1, I'd be more than happy to take them.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman. Do we have any questions from the commission on this agenda item? Yes, sir.
For Ms. Murphy, just to clarify, the geographic number, so I'm looking at scenario 2 for Tanaka, that's the current geographic number, or would that be the proposed geographic number with the changes?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Orozco, the geographic number with what you see before you with the changes.
Thank you.
Mr. Tramp.
Okay. Matthew Tramp for the record. Right now, with the current zonings, Berkeley, Tanaka, Schneider are all fed into FIOS. Steele is 100% fed to Candarelli. If we rezone Steele, we are breaking up a feeder alignment. Schneider will, I haven't done my exact figures, we're talking almost a 90-10, 80-20 type of feed, depending on which scenario right now with Schneider, because we're moving a very small number of kids from Steele to Schneider. So that means, for example, in scenario 1, the plan's to move 140 kids, so those 140 students would be going to a different middle school than the remaining. I can't exactly, of the 924, 140 of them would be going to Canadwell, where the other ones will be going to FIOS. That's, I don't know the exact numbers, but that's almost like a 90-10 alignment or 80-20 somewhere. And the same way with scenario 2, it's going to be a lot higher ratio because there's only 48 that we're looking at moving out of a total of 832. So that's actually less than 10% would be aligned to Candarelli Middle School too. So we're talking a 90-10 alignment with either proposal. Okay.
Is there a question for Ms. Murphy, or is that just a statement?
Or just a comment, or you guys want to have a respond about that?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, yes, that's correct. The students on the east side of Durango are zoned to Candarelli Middle School. The students on the west side of Snyder are zoned to Bess Middle School. So that is something to consider as part of this. Also, the development tracking is important to consider as well, the number of students proposed in each of those areas, and the number of students who would be going with their cohort group to a different middle school. That's something for the commission to consider as well. Scenario 1 currently is 48 geographic students in that area. Scenario 2 is 140 students in that area. But that is a part of this consideration for the commission.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Mr. Tramp, any other questions, comments? Mr. Flatt?
Have we looked into busing and what the price of the changes for each one of the scenarios would be for busing?
Transportation?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Flatt, Michael DeBurse Transportation for the record. We have not put figures together for it, but as you know, once we move the attendance zone, if the students are over 2 miles and they meet our recommendation, then it could possibly create an increase in the busing need.
Would you mind looking at that for us now that you have the information to see if there's going to be, how much additional busing maybe have to be used?
For both scenarios?
Please.
Yes, we'll have that for the next meeting.
Great, thank you. Mr. Flatt, any others? No. Josh, please.
John. Yeah.
Sorry, John.
Yep.
Shay, Mr.
Yep,
Shay.
Mr. Shay.
There we go.
Now I sound like I'm in trouble. One other just point of discussion is the difference in students between scenario 1 and 2 for relief of Steele. The impact, I think there's a difference of 100, ballpark 100 students. But we still need to take into consideration the impact from the move from Tanaka to Snyder, because that's consistent in both scenarios. But I think when we look at the number of students in scenario, the increase in the number of students in scenario 2, are we putting too much of a burden on Snyder with that increase in scenario 2 and continuing to keep the Tanaka section moving there? So I guess my point would be that scenario 2 makes sense, but maybe we consider amending it to leave the northern part of the Snyder district in the Tanaka district or zone.
Just for my clarity, you're talking along Warm Springs, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So under both scenarios, the section south of Warm Springs moves to Snyder. But when you make the move to scenario 2 and you, from Steele, there's more students in that section than in scenario 1. And so I think we need to consider the impact of those additional students with respect to that area along Warm Springs.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we know, just out of curiosity, for my own curiosity, what is the number of students impacted in that space that we're just talking about, right there, just south of Warm Springs? Yeah, right there. Do we know?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, south of Warm Springs in that area is 130 geographic students.
Wow, okay, so that's.
I also think it would be helpful for me to call out the enrollments and capacities at the schools currently for your reference. For Berkeley Elementary School, their capacity is 865. Their enrollment is 717. They're currently at 82.89% of capacity, and they have 0 portable classrooms. For Tanaka, they have a capacity of 650. Their enrollment is 714. They're at 109.85% of program capacity. They have 12 portable classrooms. Snyder has a capacity of 808, an enrollment of 670. They're at 82.92% of program capacity. They have 0 portable classrooms. And Steele has a capacity of 642, an enrollment of 785. They're at 122.27% of program capacity, and they have 11 portable classrooms.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Do we have any other questions, comments from the commission on this? Ms. Dominguez?
Lydia Dominguez for the record. So do you, when you look at these, the building permits, do you look at commercial building permits? I believe there's a Sony movie studio moving in this area.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Ms. Dominguez, no, for the purpose of looking at the yield and anticipating future growth in the area, we track all the residential development in Clark County, but do not track the commercial at this point.
Thank you. Ms. Dominguez, any other questions? Anyone else on the commission have a question on this agenda item? Do we have any public comment on this agenda item? None? This does call for action. I would like to motion that we carry this over to our next meeting before we make before we choose a scenario to allow for future comment. Is that okay?
Mr. Chair, that is discussion. If you'd like to carry it over to the next meeting, you do not need to vote on that, but it might be a conversation for the commission.
Okay, thank you. I would, if that's okay with you guys. Go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Matthew, yes, I'd like to still continue this for discussion in our next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tramp. Anyone else? No?
I agree.
Oh, man, I forgot Tim was there. Thank you, Tim. I apologize. It's weird when he talks. It's like, sorry, Ms. Jess.
No, it's okay. You kind of scared me too. I agree. I think we should discuss this further, but assuming that we get the transportation figures as well.
Okay.
I think we need to figure that in
I agree with
before
that.
we make any other decisions.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Dominguez? Everybody's in agreement? Okay. So we'll carry this agenda item over to the next meeting. I will go ahead and close out 2.0 2.09, and we will move on to 2.10, preliminary zoning consideration focus area M1 for middle and junior high schools. And that goes back to you, Ms. Murphy.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Tracy Murphy for the record. The Board of School Trustees approved Revision 5 of the Capital Improvement Program that included a recommendation to convert Del E. Robeson to a choice high school. In order to facilitate this change, it is necessary to dissolve the Robeson Middle School attendance boundary. Rezoning consideration would be to the surrounding middle schools, including Keller, Mack, Martin, Monaco, and J.D. Smith middle schools. This would be without grandfathering due to the conversion of this middle school to a choice high school. Before you are 3 scenarios. Scenario 1 proposes rezoning the portion of Robeson north of Bonanza, east of Lamb, west of Nellis, south of Owens, from Robeson Middle School to Monaco Middle School. That's 330 geographic students. Proposes rezoning 134 middle school students from Robeson to Keller Middle School. Proposes 185 middle school students from Robeson to Mack Middle School, and proposes 143 students from Robeson Middle School to Martin Middle School. In the area, these schools have available space in these schools. The capacity at Monaco is 1611. Enrollment is 920. 57.11% of program capacity. 1 portable classroom, and they're at minus 23.75% change. Keller Middle School has an enrollment of 1070, a capacity of 1596. They're at 67.04% of program capacity. They have 1 portable classroom, and they're at minus 28.90% change. Mack Middle School has a capacity of 1594, an enrollment of 951. They're at 59.66% of program capacity. They have 0 portable classrooms, and they have a minus 18.29% change. And Martin Middle School has a capacity of 1694, an enrollment of 1128. They're at 66.59% of program capacity, 0 portable classrooms, and minus 31.11% change. The second page of this is the table, which shows the to and from students, Robeson to Keller, Robeson to Mack, Robeson to Martin, and Robeson to Monaco. Capacity, race, English language learner, and percent change. Scenario 2 does not include Mack Middle School in the proposed rezoning. The scenario 2 keeps Edwards Elementary School students feeder alignment to Keller Middle School and maintains more elementary school students to Martin Middle School and Ira Earl Elementary School students to Monaco Middle School. Scenario 3 does not include Mack Middle School, but it includes J.D. Smith Middle School. And in this scenario, in order to balance the enrollments, moves 332 students to Monaco, and then moves 245 students from Monaco to J.D. Smith. Following this is the table with the number of students from Robeson to Keller, Robeson to Martin, Robeson to Monaco, and Monaco to Smith.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. I'll go ahead and open it up for discussion with the commission. Anyone would like to speak? Mr. Zamora?
So my only, I'm looking at the maps, the only thing that I have is, in scenario 1, we will be taking students from currently living in District D, pushing them over to a different trustee district, correct? Those that would be currently living above Charleston up to Stewart, with being zoned to Mac, would then be going over to trustee Cavazos district, correct? And the other two scenarios would, all of our students in District D would stay in District D, correct?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Zamora, yes, that is correct. Mac Middle School is in District G.
Thank you. Mr. Zamora, any other questions? Any other discussion items? Mr. Tramp?
Now, I want to clarify with Mr. Zamora's comment. The trustees' school districts do not change when we rezone schools. I misunderstood what you're talking about.
This one, in this scenario number 1, a part of the population, let's say I'm in District D.
Yeah.
So my student would be impacted by this. So my student would be going from being represented from trustee Zamora, but the middle school that he's going to is now in trustee G in District D.
Yeah, but you're still, the voters are still
but
in.
the voters are still
yeah.
doing that, but then the students are now
Yeah.
being represented by a different trustee.
but-
So parents will then have to coordinate
Yeah.
with 2 different trustees.
But we do have a lot of school zones that are into multiple trustee. A physical school can be in one trustee district, but families and students might be in another trustee. I mean, it's common in this district, so I just want to make sure we understood that, yeah, I mean, sometimes we don't always align all the school zones with the same trustees, so just I wanted to make sure we had that on, just to clarify that. So, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Tramp. Jess?
I think where Mr. Zamora is coming from is that in this area and in this community specifically, it's taken a lot of legwork from the trustee to build that existing rapport and that existing support. Yes, you are correct that there are multiple instances and multiple examples of this exact scenario happening. However, in this community where there is already a lack of trust with the school board, this is a big shift that needs to be taken into consideration for this community. So I think that is where Mr. Zamora is coming from, rather than objecting to the idea of it. That's not necessarily the point. The point of his comment and the point of it is that our families there already have a hard time with trusting what the school district says and what the school district has established. So I think moving forward, that kind of cultural mentality is also very important to keep into account when making a decision like this.
Thank you, Ms. Jess. Ms. Kinzel?
Diane Kinsel, District G. Scenario 2, I think, one of the things we want to make sure that we consider the families. And scenario 2, I think, involves the least spreading out of these students, which for them is going to be traumatic or difficult, if not traumatic. I feel Mac is too far away. That's stretching too far down. And J.D. Smith is too. If we can keep them in some kind of order so that they're still in the neighborhood. Monaco, Keller, and Martin does that. And the proximity from Robeson to Monaco, or even to Martin, is better than what Smith or Mac is going to be. I think scenario 2 answers because I think parents right now are concerned about this.
Excellent.
And I think this is going to be more acceptable to parents than, we're just,
Spreading them out more.
yeah.
Makes sense. And would it be safe to assume that in scenario one, that the feeder school alignments may be more significantly impacted than in scenario two? Would you guys agree?
I would think feeder alignment would be more with
Impacted,
scenario
yeah.
2.
Do you think it would be more impacted more?
No, well, no, I think it would fit more.
Correct, right,
into
that's what I mean.
feeder, yeah.
Right, that's what I mean. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Kinzel. Any other questions, comments? Mr. Flatt?
One more time, can I ask for busing information on this one also, please?
Do you want all three scenarios, Mr. Flatt?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Nui?
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'm liking what I was hearing about scenario 2. If I could get, please, the percentage of students, how many there now, how many they're going to be, like we did with the focus area E1, where if we were just to feed into those 3 schools, are we overpopulating to the point of stress? Is that why we're looking at having to distribute in scenario 1 to 4? Is that where our main concern is? Because scenario 2 does seem to just be better and easier, but is it going to put too much stress on the middle schools we're diverting them to?
Thank you, Tim. All right, just to clarify, you just want that on scenario 2, correct?
Yes, scenario 2. That seems to be what everyone so far has been saying might be the best scenario.
Okay.
I'd like to hear the numbers of why am I getting a 4th middle school involved?
Sure, okay. Ms. Murphy, may I have you answer that, please?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Vicario. Yes, in scenario 2, this proposes rezoning 330 students from Robeson Middle School to Monaco Middle School. Monaco Middle School has an enrollment of 920 and a capacity of 1611, so there is sufficient program capacity. This proposes 205 students from Robeson Middle School to Keller Middle School. Keller Middle School has a capacity of 1596, an enrollment of 1070. There's capacity available. And this also proposes 257 students from Robeson Middle School to Martin Middle School. Martin has an enrollment of 1128, a capacity of 1694, so there's capacity available. Further, this keeps the entire middle school for feeder school alignment together when they move for Ira Earl, Edwards, as well as more elementary schools.
Excellent.
So just to follow up, to make sure I'm understanding, there's no issue with capacity and feeder alignment stays the same with scenario 2?
Correct, right? No, what you said.
No, there is not a challenge with capacity with this scenario with the schools, but the elementary schools would move with their cohort group. So when that area on scenario 2 moves, for example, from Robeson to Keller, that is the attendance boundary of Edwards Elementary School. So that attendance boundary will move with their cohort group from Robeson, which is being converted, together to Keller. And then the cohort group with Moore would move to not from Robeson to Martin together. And then the cohort group from Ira Earl would move together from Robeson to Monaco. So these elementary schools move with their cohort groups and they're not split up as this scenario. Does that make sense?
Does that answer your
Thank
question?
you.
Perfect. Any other questions, Tim?
That answered it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Roscoe.
Thank you. I know that we cannot set meetings with either the schools or the communities, and so we usually get invited for that. And I just wanted to know if there have been any set up for any of these schools And if so, if they have not hopefully already passed, and if I'd be able to attend any of those. Is that permittable?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Orozco, yes. During the meetings with the schools online, we let them know that we would be more than happy to coordinate with the AZAC members and the schools if they would just reach out to me and let me know that they'd like us to attend a parent meeting or an SOT or a meeting with their parents. Please reach out to me and we'd be more than happy to attend any of those meetings in the community.
And just to follow up to that, are there any currently scheduled?
Mr. Orozco, we have not been invited to any meetings in this area yet at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Orozco. Any other questions? Ms. Dominguez?
Lydia Dominguez for the record. Have the principals notified the parents that this is a possible scenario for the upcoming AZAC commission?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Ms. Dominguez, we've communicated that when we had the online meetings with the schools. And we've also sent emails to the schools letting them know of the upcoming meeting and letting them know that we'd be available to come out and meet. And we've asked the schools to share that. They're our conduit to the schools. We've asked the schools to share this information with their communities.
Have we had any response from the principals regarding upcoming meetings or any kind of parental concerns?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, it's still early in the process. For one of the upcoming focus areas that we're talking about, we have been asked to come meet with an SOT. For this scenario focus area specifically, no, but it is early in the process.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Ms. Dominguez? That's it? Any other comments? I didn't want to move on. I believe we have Mr. Gilman that is going to discuss the residential development tracking for these zoning areas as well.
For Keller Middle School, we have future developments of 41 housing units planned, 41 housing units remaining, and an additional middle school students expected of 3. For MAC, we have 22 housing units planned for active, 17 housing units remaining, and 1 additional middle school student expected. For future, we have 243 housing units planned and remaining, and we have 20 middle school students expected. For Martin, we have 2,972 active housing units planned, 2,164 housing units remaining, and 137 middle school students expected. For inactive, we have 370 housing units planned and remaining, with 22 middle school students expected. For Martin, we have 4,201 future units planned and remaining. We also have 257 middle school students expected. For Monaco, we have 110 housing units planned for active, 74 units remaining, and 7 middle school students expected. For inactive, we have 277 housing units planned and remaining. We have 21 middle school students expected. For future, we have 106 housing units planned and remaining, and we have 7 middle school students expected. For Robeson, we have 70 future housing units planned with 70 units remaining, and 5 middle school students expected. And for inactive, we have 4 units planned, 4 remaining, and 0 additional middle school students expected. For J.D. Smith, we have 306 housing units planned for future, as well as remaining, and 18 middle school students expected. For inactive, we have 48 housing units planned and remaining, and 3 middle school students expected. And if anyone has any questions on development tracking, I'd be more than happy to take them.
Any questions for Mr. Gelman? Thank you, sir, by the way. Any other questions for Mr. Gelman on this item? I just wanted to comment too, because I know we're looking and considering scenario 2 here. But it does look like Martin is going to get a significant, they have a significant active growth. Is that correct? Just to make sure I'm not missing it. And with scenario 2, it does look like we will be shifting more that way, and then they're going to be expanding significantly as well. So I don't know that that changes anyone's opinion on it. I just wanted to put that out there for everybody. All right. Any other comments, questions on this, Commission? Tim, you good? I forget about him, so I have to make sure I check on him. We do have one public comment. Brian Brill? Hello, sir.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Brian Brill, Del H. Residential School Principal, for the record. The community that I serve has made it pretty clear. We've communicated all of these documents out multiple times. We've had pastries with the principal. We've had coffee with the counselors. I mean, many ways of getting parents involved, because we rolled this out originally, not the zoning, but the actual dissolving, November of last year. And so the community's aware. We've throughout this entire time. The issue that we're having now, one of the main concerns that came out from this was under scenario 1, focus area M1, scenario 1, families are concerned about having their children walk across two major streets, which would be Charleston and Sahara. So getting to and from safely. That's one of the main concerns that I've gotten at from our community. Outside of that, we have been communicating everything that we've been given, pretty much, and very transparent with the family. Our SOT is aware. We've been working through all of any angle that we can, really include everybody. So just, that, yes, we have been communicating. This has been, and I know that's come up several times. They're very aware of where we're at. I do know that some of the families have determined that they want to go to the charter schools in the area. There are 4 active charter schools in the area. But I'm like, hey, hang in there. We're gonna take care of you. So just know that that's also something. But yeah, that scenario 1's been the biggest issue for us and the family.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. Any other discussion, comments on this item? And I believe are we good to hold this one over till the next meeting? Any objections? No? Okay. All righty. With that, we will postpone any action on 2.10. And we will close out that item for today, and we will move on to agenda item 2.11, preliminary zoning consideration focus area M2 for middle schools.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Tracy Murphy for the record. The primary reason for this rezoning evaluation is due to the large Inspirada and West Henderson master plan developments under construction and the number of additional middle school students these are expected to yield in the Del Webb Middle School attendance zone in the coming years. Utilizing available capacity at Silvestri Middle School may provide some enrollment relief to Webb Middle School. There is one scenario for this focus area M2. Scenario 1. Again, the green solid line are the current attendance boundaries for both Del Webb and Silvestri Middle Schools. The area being proposed for rezoning under this scenario is the area north of St. Rose Parkway, east of I-15, south of Star, east of Bermuda, south of Erie, and west of Amigo. This proposes rezoning 401 elementary schools, not elementary schools, students, been a long morning already. Sorry about that.
Do you need one, Ms. Murphy? I got you.
401 middle school students from Webb Middle School to Silvestri Middle School. Silvestri has a capacity of 1,579, an enrollment of 1,066. They're at 67.51% of capacity, 0 portable classrooms, and a minus 21.38% change. Webb Middle School has a capacity of 1,546, an enrollment of 1,693. They're at 109.51% of program capacity. They have 14 portable classrooms, and they have a minus 8.68% change. And I'd like to turn this over to Mr. Gelman to talk about the residential development in the area.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Mr. Gelman?
So for focus area M1, reference item 2.11, for Del Webb Middle School, active developments, we have 5,671 housing units planned, 2,156 housing units remaining, and 152 additional middle school students expected. For inactive, we have 711 housing units planned and remaining. We also have 57 middle school students expected. For future, we have 6,413 housing units planned and 6,413 housing units remaining, with 446 additional middle school students expected. For Silvestri Middle School, for active, we have 1,671 units planned, 757 units remaining, and 47 middle school students expected. For future, we have 3,042 housing units planned and remaining, and we have 186 middle school students expected. If anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Gelman. Commission, any questions for Mr. Gelman or Ms. Murphy? Jess?
Just right over the record, I do have a quick question, just want to make sure I have my figures correct. Silvestri has a cap of 1,579, and they're currently enrolled 1,066.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, yes. Ms. Torado.
Are there any plans to develop another middle school in the area as of yet, given the residential development figures?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is one of the areas that demographics and zoning continuously evaluates as far as the development in the area. This is one of those areas in the valley where we know there's a lot of growth, and we watch the growth in order to plan for the future and to know what is going on in that area and whether in the future that is something that needs to be recommended based on what we see as far as the enrollments. This situation right now, since Silvestri does have space available, and because this area actually is an attendance zone for Shore Elementary School, so those students, again, similarly to the last focus area, those students would move as a cohesive cohort group to attend Silvestri after their elementary school career. And they would move together to attend Silvestri rather than moving together to attend Webb. And when we look at growth in the areas, we also look at, in addition to whether schools should be planned in areas for the future, we look at surrounding enrollments. So for example, if one school is overcrowded and continues to grow, we're looking at schools in the area that could provide some relief to those schools so that the enrollments are more balanced rather than recommending a new school in an area when surrounding schools are underutilized.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Does that answer your question, Jess? Yes. Oh, thank you. All right, Ms. Dominguez.
Lydia Dominguez for the record. Can you give us the capacities for Silvestri, Miller, and Webb?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Ms. Dominguez. The capacities for Silvestri is 1,579. And the capacity for Miller is 1,561. And Miller has an enrollment of 1,521.
1521.
And, I'm sorry, Webb?
Webb is a capacity of 1,546 and an enrollment of 1,693.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Ms. Dominguez? Any others?
Just another question about, I'm always concerned about the busing, and so affecting students. So this little piece between Bermuda and Amigo, is that within the 2-mile radius?
Mr. Chair, Ms. Dominguez, members of the board, Michael Demers for Transportation for the record. That is, we did actually look at this scenario already. That is squarely beyond 2 miles for both Silvestri and Del Webb. There also is active construction work being done on traffic controls, specifically at Amigo. We were looking at this for another high school in the area, but they are putting up stoplights and crosswalks, and so we keep an eye on those for student safety and also for our walk path network. So that is also being developed, even though, just for your information, even though this is over 2 miles.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Mr. Flatt?
So, it wouldn't matter, these children are being bused to Webb anyway, correct? So we have no difference between one and the other. There's not going to be any income difference between fours, right? They're going to be the same.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Mr. Flabb, members of the commission, Michael Demers, Transportation for the record. That is correct. The only increase would be in the, should you recommend phase out, the increase would be the increase in routes during that phase out period.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the commission? I just wanted to state on this scenario, I do like that it would separate St. Rose. That's a huge road. So I do want to say that I believe that's a good idea. Sorry. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Mr. Russell.
of course. So, yeah, just seconding what everyone is saying, and I do think to Mr. Michael's point of the traffic signals and everything being erected there, you know, it is important and needed there. And to Ms. Murphy's point in terms of the alignment, so I mean, I was able to meet with the principals and Ms. Murphy with both of the schools, and there was really no concerns that were really brought up there. And we didn't have any invitations to attend any of their meetings, correct, Ms. Murphy? But I'm good to move forward with this. I don't know if we would like to do that or if we want to hold all of them to the next meeting.
So we'd like, if possible, we'd like to allow one more public session if possible, but we could certainly make that action item at the next meeting if that's okay.
No, if we're good with holding this to allow the maximum amount of community input, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Any other from the commission? Mr. Tim, I don't want to forget about you again.
We're good. Let's roll.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All righty. With that, and there's no other public comment on, oh, I'm sorry. Did you have anything, Mr. Dominguez? One more thing from Ms. Dominguez.
I just want to add, I think it's really important that we wait for these children, parents to, get these emails through. It's a busy time of year, so I think it's really important to put this off for a little while to parents get the emails, get the notifications from the principals, and so I think it's a great idea. Let's move forward.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. We don't have any public comment on 2.11? Nope, okay. With that, we'll table this agenda item for the next meeting. We'll close it for today, and we will move on to Agenda item 2.12, preliminary zoning consideration, focus area H1 for high schools. Ms. Murphy, back to you. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I feel like you should be right here next to us doing this.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this focus area is under evaluation, again, due to the large Inspirata and West Henderson master plan developments under construction and the number of additional high school students these are expected to yield in the Liberty attendance boundary in the coming years. Utilizing available capacity at Silverado High School may provide some enrollment relief to Liberty High School. On scenario 1, there's one scenario for this focus area. The solid blue lines are the attendance boundaries for Liberty High School and Silverado High School. Again, those numbers that you see are the geographic numbers and are not enrollments at these schools. Silverado High School has a capacity of 2472, an enrollment of 1923. They're currently at 77.79% of program capacity. They have 20 portable classrooms. They're also undergoing a comprehensive modernization. And there is a minus 7.17% change in their attendance boundary. Liberty High School has a capacity of 2509, an enrollment of 3214. They're at 128.10% of program capacity. They have 18 portable classrooms. They are not undergoing a comprehensive modernization, and they have a minus 12.94% change. I will say the enrollment at Silverado has decreased over the last 5 years. The enrollment at Liberty has increased over the last 5 years. Something else to note in this area at Star and Gillespie, which is several blocks from Liberty High School, the South CTA will open in fall of 2025. So that is something to take under consideration in that when that South CTA opens, that school was designed to provide enrollment relief to both Liberty and Coronado High Schools. And that's when that South CTA, that was the purpose of the location as well as the South CTA to provide enrollment relief to those schools. I'd like to turn this over. Oh, let me back up a little bit. The area on this map that's south of Pebble, north of Agate, west of Bermuda, and east of Las Vegas, that is an area which would rezone proposing 51 students from Liberty High School to Silverado High School. Then the area south of Silverado Ranch, that area in pink proposes rezoning 177 students from Liberty High School to Silverado High School. Josh?
For reference item 2.12, focus area H1, Liberty High School has an active total of 7,082 housing units planned, with 2,892 units remaining. This will yield about 298 additional high school students. Inactive for Liberty, 711 housing units are planned and remaining, with 92 additional high school students expected. For future, we have 9,429 housing units planned and remaining, with a total additional high school students expected of 893. For Silverado, we have 371 active units planned and remaining, with 31 additional high school students expected. For inactive, we have 301 units planned and remaining, with 28 high school students expected. For future, we have 302 housing units planned and remaining, with 27 additional high school students expected. If anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman. I did have a question for Ms. Murphy on, you mentioned the CTA is opening in 2025. Just to help us understand, is there a percentage of change, like an average associated with those? A percentage of each school that may, just a guess or close guess?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, when a CTA opens, they typically attract more students the closer those schools are to the CTA that's opening. So for example, when Northeast CTA opened, a larger number of those students from Legacy attend the Northeast CTA because the Northeast CTA is adjacent to Legacy, and that is the primary area where that CTA is located. In the first 2 years of the Northeast CTA, there are 400 students who've attended the Northeast CTA that are in the Legacy attendance zone. So this is a little bit of a balancing act because we're looking at possible rezoning to Silverado, keeping in mind that the South CTA will be opening in the fall. A couple of things to note. You may ask about these areas for proposed rezoning. The one area that's south of Pebble and north of Agate, so this would improve feeder school alignment because all of Schofield then would be attending Silverado. Right now you can't see this, but the middle school attendance boundary, that small portion of the area of Schofield attends Liberty currently. And this would improve feeder alignment with those Schofield students attending Silverado. The other pink area south of Silverado Ranch splits an elementary school. And so that elementary school goes to Silvestri Middle School, but then those students go to Liberty currently, and their cohort group attends Silverado. So this, in the long term, improves feeder alignment for elementary school kids with their cohort group to middle school and again to high school, which is, as you know, something that we're always looking at being able to improve.
Excellent. And Ms. Murphy, do you mind just pointing on the map where the CTA would be? I'm not familiar enough with that area. I'm sorry. It's down there. So by the L? Okay. Fair enough. So it's fair to say that when that CTA does open, the majority of those students would come from Liberty? Is that accurate in your assessment?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, when you're looking at number of students, so we anticipate the largest number of students coming from the surrounding schools, which is Liberty, Coronado's, then some from Silverado. We anticipate, smaller numbers the further you get away from that school, but also other schools on the south portion of the valley will see some students who apply and attend the South CTA as well.
Okay. So, and the reason I was asking that, just for the commission, is because the future for Liberty is quite significant. And if the CTA is going right there, if the majority of students attend CTA right closest to that, that would just feed into our decisions or discussions. So, any other questions? Sure.
Yeah, just a quick way, do we have a capacity number for the CTA?
That's a great question, Mr. Shea. Fantastic.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, 1,800 seats.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Mr. Flatt? Yes, sir.
Dave Flatt for the record. Are we going to open all grades, or is it just freshman and sophomore? Or is it going to be all four grades on it.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Flatt, I would leave this up to the magnet office. I believe that they're, I don't want to speculate.
The reason why I said one of the other CTAs, we only brought freshmen and sophomores in. So that was the question, to see if actually we're going to bring all 4 grades in, or we're going to just bring freshmen and sophomores.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Flatt, in the past, for CTA's opening, they have opened with the freshman class and some sophomores, but not as many sophomores as freshmen. So that has happened with past CTAs. I can tell you that, yes.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Ms. Kinzel.
Diane Kenzel, District G. Tracy, do we know what the programs will be at this CTA? Because sometimes that's a big determining factor on whether kids go to a particular CTA.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Ms. Kinsel, I would hesitate to provide a lot of information on the programming, as that's up to the magnet department.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't know yet? Or
We don't.
we
you
won't
don't
know?
Right.
Okay.
I hesitate to provide information on how the magnet office is choosing to program that CTA.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Flatt again?
Is there a chance we can have a presentation from Magnet to help us with this information?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Flatt, I will reach out to the magnet office and ask them if they can provide me with the details I can provide at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Mr. Roscoe?
Yes, I was going to ask that exact question, but one of the things that I do want to mention to Ms. Murphy's point at the very beginning of this meeting was that, I mean, although it's not an exact science, whenever there have been openings, it does tend to decrease, right, the capacity. I don't remember the schools. You basically said they went from red to yellow, and so, you know, there is that there working towards the decision of this, but I do feel that it would be good to bring in someone from the magnets to be able to ask some of those questions, entertain them. And one of the things that I do just want to mention is this is one of the scenarios in the schools that we have been invited to be able to attend, so really looking forward to that. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Any other comments from the commission? Mr. Tim? They put him up for me.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. All right, any public comment on this one? None on this one? I think this would also be open for further discussion as well, and I think, I do want to actually, I have one more question, I apologize. Is it possible in this scenario, could we evaluate what it would look like to move the boundary down to Silverado Ranch in Silverado? Does it make sense? North, so the area north of Silverado. So what Mr. Flatt and I were discussing, bless you, what Mr. Flatt and I were discussing is what would it look like to move the boundary down to Silverado and then move the area over by Pyle and Maryland, all of that, up to Silverado, kind of cleaning up that area?
If I may, you're essentially just saying have Silverado be the
Dividing line
right?
between the
dividing
two.
line?
Yeah. I don't know what that looks like for the area, I'm sorry. But
I believe for the elementary or the middle school, you had indicated, Ms. Murphy, that it wouldn't be a clean cut, essentially.
right, yeah, it's not feeder school alignment, but I'm just wondering if it would be, what that, if those numbers help that area at all? That's the only thing I'm asking. I don't know if it's possible just to see that in a scenario, if we want to evaluate what that looks like in general. Are you guys good with that? Yeah, a second scenario where we just kind of clean that up just to see. Are you guys okay with that? Mr. Roscoe, are you fine?
I have no objection to it, you know, just presenting an alternative to it, but I do just want to indicate that in previous discussions, I don't believe it's going to align, right, with the elementaries and the middle
Understood.
schools, but just for the sake of presenting an alternative so that the families and the parents are able to see that, I would be okay with that.
Excellent, okay. Ms. Dominguez?
Leah Dominguez for the record. I believe it might cause some community cohesiveness, so I think the parents might appreciate a second option. So if we could do a second scenario where Silverado Ranch is the boundary, just to give parents another option.
Any other comments on that, guys? Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Tracy, she had a comment first. You're good? Okay. Ms. Jess, you good?
Jess Dorado for the record. I just wanted to, I'm also not familiar with the area, so my question is more pertaining to transportation. Is there discrepancies in this transportation? Are they within the limits in order to continue that transportation in this proposed scenario?
Mr. Chair, Ms. Dorado, members of the commission. So these students are currently all eligible for transportation to Liberty. With the proposed boundary, it would, a majority of them would be ineligible for transportation to Silverado. They would be within the 2-mile walk radius, with the exception of, looks like 31. So that would remain eligible for transportation to Silverado.
So it'd be a reduction, if I'm understanding that correctly?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Any other, Ms. Murphy, you had a statement, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, providing another scenario, we'd be happy to do that. That would not be available as far as posting for the meeting on October 29th.
Okay.
It would be available for the following meeting because the meeting on the 29th is posting today.
So that would be available for the 12th then is what we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I think at this point, I think we would still want to have additional conversation about this anyway, moving it to, we could still keep it open for the next meeting discussion or just open it up on the 12th?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, it's really up to you.
Okay. I would say let's add this to our discussion on the 12th as well for additional impact or input. And then we would have another scenario to discuss on the 12th, which would delay this action item, but at least it's something else, if you guys are all fine with that. Okay. Excellent. Yes, ma'am?
Would you want to discuss this again on the 29th and then on the 12th, both?
I would suggest that we keep it open on both, just in case there's public
Okay.
input on the
Sure.
current scenario, and then we can discuss the other scenario on the 12th.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead, miss.
Jess Trotter for the record. One more question. Mr. Orozco, you had mentioned that there were that there was another meeting planned with community folks. Does that fall within the timeline of November 12th and the 29th?
I believe the meeting is on the 29th, if I'm not mistaken, right, Ms. Roman?
Perfect. So then on the 12th, we can have a more comprehensive
Is
discussion
that-
on that second scenario then.
Is that a discussion that could be had on the second scenario at that meeting? That can't be discussed until it's
Mr. Chair, no, it wouldn't have been
have to be
posted
posted.
yet.
Got it. Okay, fair enough. Thank you for that. Any other questions, concerns, comments on this action or agenda item? I gotta stop calling it action item. All right, no other public comment. I will move on to agenda item. It's 2 point, am I right? 13, that's where I'm at. You keeping me honest, Mr. Flatt? All right, so we will move to agenda item 2.13, calendar dates and times. With that being said, updating meetings and times, we do have a scheduled meeting for Tuesday, October 29th. We have another meeting scheduled for November 12th. And then we have December 3rd. We have a potential meeting opportunity for December 5th. We have a scheduled meeting for December 10th. And those ones are the actual scheduled pre-selected ones. So if we, by moving that previous agenda item to the 12th, we may consider doing December 5th as well, given that we would probably want to give two scenarios or two.
It is Veterans Day.
On Monday, oh, got it, Veterans Day on Monday, got it. So we may want to consider the December 5th as well, if we consider the other agenda item. Fair enough? So there's really no action to be made here, correct? I mean, this is agenda, or this is already aligned? Or do we have to action for December 5th?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, conversation amongst you all, if you've all agreed to those meeting dates, is fine.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on this, on those dates in general? Everybody good with that?
Can you go over it again? I'm sorry, the 29th, October?
Yep, October 29th, November 12th, December 3rd. Then we have a potential for December 5th. And that would be needed if we were actioning the previous agenda item on the 12th. And then we have the pre-scheduled for December 10th. Those are the... So the only
I have
one
a
that's...
question. I have a quick
yes,
question.
sir. Go ahead,
Do we
Tim.
need next week's meeting if we're going to meet 3 weeks later and we're going to discuss that next item anyways that we're going to add on? What is the need? Is there a way we maybe combine next week's into the one after that?
I mean, I'm fine with that as well. If, so that means that we would have the second scenario to discuss on the 12th. That would be our second opportunity. I would be okay with that as well. Just, Mr. Tim's suggestion is to omit the cancel the 29th meeting and just stick with the 12th.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Members of the commission, my suggestion is to meet on the 29th because that's another opportunity for parents to comment. And this was just the first meeting, and it's the first meeting to bring forward scenarios. It's really the first time anybody has seen them.
Got it.
So the meeting on the 29th is, in my opinion, our opinion, beneficial.
Okay.
And then the meeting, if at the meeting on the 29th, the commission chooses to move some forward to proposals, that's great, but you don't have to, depending on the situation. And then you still have the meeting on the 12th. So there was a little bit of more information provided at this meeting than normal, and just the first time to see the scenarios.
Understood. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. I'm okay either which way. It's up to the commission. Keep the 29th? Everybody in agreement? Okay. So we'll keep the 29th and then the 12th. The only question of the day would then be December 5th, but we don't have to make that decision today, right? Okay, so I say that we'll just stay the 29th will be our next meeting, followed by the 12th, and then the 3rd. Ms. Dominguez?
I second.
Oh, okay. Is it a vote? We need a vote? It's not a vote item.
Oh, it's not a vote?
Yeah, so keep yourself together here.
I'm ready to go.
You're ready to vote though, aren't you?
Thank you. All right, with that, I'll go ahead and close out agenda item 2.13, and we will move on to public comment 3.01 for any items not listed on the action items of this agenda. No public comment. All right. With that, I will move for adjournment at 11:23. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
Aye.